This work that was done for this health club survey was actually, we began working through this in about 2002 or 2003. And just to let you know, the partnering company and who I'm indebted to for this was Sierra Analytics, headed by Bill Lazarus, the founder, president, and CEO. And he was really the brains behind this. I was the consultant contractor that got brought in to munge the data and try to make some sense out of it. But he's got his PhD from UMass in political science, so he understands the statistics side of things. And also just from a data mining perspective, he understands what it takes to create actionable intelligence. And that's what Sierra Analytics does. So I wanted to give a little shout out to Sierra Analytics. Their webpage at sierraanalytics.com talks about a lot of the work they do, not just with the YMCA, which is the health club that's being mentioned here, but they've worked with school systems to find what the location is where you should put a bank or a school that maximizes interaction with the surrounding community, and so they do a lot of really interesting stuff. I'm going to refer to this at the very end because Bill and I had an interesting conversation with a New York Times reporter about this work not too long ago, but I'll get to that in a little bit. And that's about me, but you can read it on the slides later. But I am local here in San Diego, which is another good thing about this particular conference, and it's always a pleasure to be a part of the Salford conferences. This is my third Salford conference, and hopefully not the last one if they'll have me back again. Survey analysis. The traditional approach to survey analysis is very statistical. You see a lot of factor analysis and regression modeling around survey analysis. We're going to talk through that and what we initially tried and what didn't work as well in this project and what we did to improve on those results. That's really the whole reason for this talk, where the overall satisfaction question was something like this. What are the characteristics of members who indicated the highest overall satisfaction with their YMCA? Now, the YMCA is a little bit different than other health clubs because their goal is not monetary. Their goal is not to increase membership per se, but it's to engage with the community. And they want a community feel within the Y, and they want a relational aspect of the folks who are a part of the YMCA. So it's a little bit different. So satisfaction means different things. So if you belong to a health club, some of the results here won't exactly line up with what your local health club might be interested in, but I think it'll be transparent enough. One of the real advantages of working with the Y is we start with just 32,000 records from 1 year survey. Now the Y being a national organization, we get hundreds of thousands of surveys. And so it's a huge data set. I mean, how many people here have done survey analysis before in part of the work? So a lot of people have done it. And so the end that we often work with is maybe it's 100, if you're lucky 500 or so. It's a good sized survey. So to have 30,000 surveys to work with, that's a real benefit right from the get-go. Not a lot of demographic data. The Y survey had 65 questions, which at the end of this you can see how we could have created a much smaller survey to get at the same information, but we'll get to that. And the basic approach was related to satisfaction. Question number 1 in the survey was, how satisfied are you with the club or with the YMCA? And you had a choice of 5 different responses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we typically use the top drawer checkbox as our target field. So, and that was about a third of the data, roughly, with the key questions. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's unusual because there's so many records. Responses are collected from across the country, so we have a very broad set of people to look at. And Sierra Analytics tracks these longitudinally, so they can look at, they're anonymous surveys, they can't track individuals per se, but they can track within a particular YMCA branch what the responses look like over time. So they can see what practices they put into place as a result of the survey analysis and how that affected responses year to year. So they've got a very rich data set. Okay, as I mentioned, there are 65 questions in the survey. We use 57 of them as candidate inputs to the model. The codings are typically 1 through 5, an ordinal where 1 is the highest and 5 is the lowest. Initially, but not for very long, the unknowns or the unresponded questions were coded as 0, though we changed that. There are 2 text columns, which at the time, for free-form text that people would write in. At the time, we didn't have the ability or the time to analyze those, but I'd really like to look at those now with the advances in text mining in the last 5-6 years. It'd be a lot easier to do that now.